Good day and welcome to World Bioeconomy Forum followers from all around the world. We are delighted to have you with us. Today, we are delighted to be joined by Dr. Flora Ismail Tibazarwa from Ecotech Tanzania, who is Program Director for the Southern Africa Innovation Support Program. This is an initiative that aims to enhance regional collaboration by improving and strengthening innovation ecosystems in the Southern Africa Development Community area. This is a vast area of the African continent and includes countries Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, and Zambia. For those of you who are not aware of our advisory board, this is one of the foundation stones of the World Bioeconomy Forum. The forum prides itself on the quality, diversity, and range of its advisory board members, ensuring that all regions of the globe are included as the circular bioeconomy takes center stage in the fight against climate change. Therefore, we are delighted to announce recently that Dr. Tibazarwa will join the forum's advisory board for a 3-year term, starting with the 22 season next year. We are really delighted to have you on board, Doctor. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
As well as Dr. Tibazarwa, we also have 3 other new members joining us, representing Europe, Australasia, and Russia. And we'll also be running interviews with those new members in the near future. So without any further ado, let's introduce Dr. Tibazarwa. Good morning and welcome, Doctor. It is so great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. And it's an honor to be part of the advisory board for the next 3 years. I'm really excited.
Excellent. Let's kick off. Can you give us a brief description of your background and a bit of history as to how you came to be operating in the bioeconomy in the first place?
Thank you. So I trained as a plant molecular biologist in focusing on really plant molecular physiology. And during my research, I worked quite a bit with modern biotechnology, looking at how crops that are genetically modified are introduced into the environment, and from a perspective of the ecological risk assessment that's needed to introduce these crops. So what are the regulatory practices there? And from that, I worked with the University of Dar es Salaam for about 15 years. And then I moved into a region management space, working for a think tank, which is mandated by the government of Tanzania to develop policies and guide how strategic research and innovation drives the economy of Tanzania. Tanzania has embarked on a trajectory towards building a knowledge economy. And so bioeconomy is really a part of that. And one of the things we would do is try and develop what kind of principles. We don't have a bioeconomy strategy in place, but what would be the underlying principles for one when we did get to that? So at that level, or at working for the think tank, I was responsible for the life sciences, agriculture, environment, biotechnology, and health. And so I had access to a lot of the research and innovation that was coming out of these 4 main areas, which needed to be commercialized. And so one of the initiatives I was a key part of was seeing how one would commercialize a vaccine that was developed for chickens. And you can see how the opportunities for developing businesses out of bio-based products comes to play. Just from having had this long-term background in research, I could see how that was happening. And so I started to gain a lot more interest in that. And when I joined now the Southern African Innovation Support Program, where I'm working, we are working with a number of projects trying to build or strengthen the collaboration between countries in Africa. And some of the projects that we work with are also in this space. And so we've had one of the projects we've been supporting is an additive manufacturing, where they developed health implants in South Africa and they were transferring the technology to Botswana. And you see that these countries have a lot of potential for benefiting from bio-based products and services. And that's just one. There's another one that we've worked with, which is in the agricultural space, bringing closer health, not soil health services to farmers in rural areas by just using a simple digital tool that you can understand what it is that the farmer needs to be able to grow their crops correctly and not rely on general climatic data. And so there's a lot of opportunity in Africa because we have a lot of challenges that are solutions in the biospace. And so this is what draws me to this, because it's a really exciting space to be in, where you look at what comes out of the research. There's a lot of tech that's coming out, and what it can do to actually resolve socioeconomic challenges that we face as a continent.
Wow. So it's really good to see that the bioeconomy is alive and kicking in that part of Africa.
Absolutely, it is. And there are a number of countries that have developed specific strategies, bioeconomy strategies. South Africa is one of them. In East Africa, where I'm from, we have now a regional economic strategy, a bioeconomy strategy. And it is my optimistic hope that in the near future, each country in Eastern Africa will have a independent bioeconomy strategy that feeds into this regional one. At the moment, it was easier to do it as a regional bloc. We share challenges, we share opportunities, and we share the wealth of the youth population. So we have a number of regional programs that are really fostered in the bioeconomy space. Just to mention one of them, is called BioInnovate, which is working to bridge the gap between research and commercialization of bio-based research products. That was also a key player in the development of this regional strategy. So it is growing. There's a lot of traction. There's a lot of excitement in this part of the world for that, because it is seen as a key strategy, if one has it at a national level, for answering the entrepreneurial or the employment space for youth. And we have a lot of youth. I think Africa has more youth than any of the other four continents. We have a lot of biological resources that we can tap into, and with the currently with the access to technology and knowledge from the developed world, then Africa has an opportunity to leverage that and actually grow, but also develop its own solutions in this space. So
great, excellent to hear. And the collaboration is so important as well between those countries. Fantastic. So what are your expectations of joining the World Bioeconomy Forum Advisory Board?
So one key benefit of my presence at the board is that the board is made up, as you mentioned, of players from all the 5 continents. And this means I will have access to knowledge and best practices and networks that come from from the other colleagues. And I will also then be able to share the opportunities, the challenges, and also the best practices that Africa has been able to develop. I think the world has gotten to a point where we cannot live in isolation. We have global responsibilities. I think the recent COP26 just brought it to the forefront, how much we are a unit, and that if we don't come up with common solutions, then we are all in a bad space. And the capabilities to cope may be different. However, they all affect, or we are all affected in one way or the other. And if one of a whole is affected, then the rest also suffer. And so having this possibility to see that we can come up with common solutions, but also promote the youth in this in the bioeconomy space, because entrepreneurship, in my opinion at the moment, is a big driver for economic growth. As for countries like Africa, for continents like Africa, we have large opportunities there, and sharing this with youth all over the world is another opportunity. So I would say this, for me, would be one of the drives. The other thing that I would definitely like to see is bringing the forum to Africa, having witnessed what impact it has created in Brazil, where the last forum was held. It shows how much you can actually bring to the forefront local products and expose these, because one doesn't get the opportunity to see how much potential there is if you just read from peer review literature or attend conferences once in a while. But bringing the forum to Africa will showcase what Africa is able to do. And that's one of the things I would like to see at least during my term on the board.
Yeah, that is, again, you're talking about collaboration, and you're talking about one of the most important bioeconomy areas in the world, which has so much huge potential. So that's wonderful. So we really look forward to our meetings with you and hearing your ideas. Another thing that you said, which is really important, is that, you know, the sharing of knowledge. You know, you already can share knowledge of your experience, like the Brazilians were sharing their knowledge in our conference in Belém. So when do you think we might see a World Bioeconomy Forum being held in Africa, and where, in your opinion, should it be held?
Well, I'll be selfish and I would say East Africa, because that's the cradle of man. At least in my that would be great to have it. However, Africa is so mega biodiverse, and there's so much diversity in Africa, and each one has its own attraction, its own opportunities. So I would be open in discussing which one makes the best sense. Obviously, for the forum, it's the one that's got the strongest partnership. I know, having had discussions with the founder of the forum, that the local commitment is important. So one with commitment, possibly one that doesn't have a bioeconomy strategy but needs to launch one. So the countries that have already established and started their path, I would look at those to bring in the knowledge and learning of how they went about drawing up their policies. But I would see the forum as an opportunity for a country that really wants to set its trajectory on a bioeconomy, develop a bioeconomy strategy, launch one, as using the forum as a means to demonstrate what benefit it can do and what kind of impact it can create. So probably that would be the first criteria I would use in selecting the country. And the second, so it might not be the cradle of man, but yes, let's see. No, I say that because East Africa already has a bioeconomy strategy. But it could also be used to demonstrate at the country level what the strategy, the implementation of the strategy and the rollout, what would that look like in a country that's probably looking towards developing one.
Yes, sure. Giving prime examples of how it can be done. Yeah. And as you say, you hit the nail on the head, because it really is diverse. I mean, each country has its own particular areas of bioeconomy that are particular to itself. So that's fabulous. So great, fantastic. So good to have you on board. So good to have on the advisory board. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the bioeconomy in general?
Well, I see, and maybe working now in the innovation space, I think there is a lot of potential for startups to be a key part of the bioeconomy. It's not necessarily just the large businesses, but there is a lot of mentoring and capacity building to be provided. A lot of the startups, at least in Africa, are tech driven, probably like similar to the other parts of the world, but there's a lot of bio-based startups that need a platform, and I see the forum as an opportunity to provide that. And so at the next forum, whether it's in Africa or otherwise, I would recommend that we have a showcasing of the startups in this space, because I see that I see them driving it for the next next century or so.
Excellent. Actually, we've just done another interview with the winner of the Bioeconomy Forum's Startup of the Year award, which was a chocolate company from the Amazon. And I've got to say, it's fascinating how these little things start and away they go. So it's something that we will be focusing on a lot in the forum of the future. So that's really great. Hey, it's been really nice to talk to you, and good to have you on board the advisory board. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the next meeting.
Fabulous. Nice to see you.
Same here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.